Really wait till Mayor is here now. It's late. I know he's coming. No?
And he basically says that.
Alright, we're down based on halachah daled. Mechem should be no. If you have a hot water urn which you emptied, you shouldn't put into it cold water in order that water heats up. But you can put hot cold water into the urn or into a cup in order to remove its coldness, to make it lukewarm. Okay, so not in order to heat it up, but in order to make it lukewarm, which is different. Of course, someone is going to define the difference between heating up and making it lukewarm. Rabbi Bar Braid says Rabbi Bar Braid Rabbi Chia Bar Boa Rabbi Chia b'shem Rabbi Yochanan said, Lo shem l'tocha kos. The impression one receives from our Mishnah is that you can even put the water into the urn in order to heat up. You can even put it into the urn in order to warm it up, as long as it's lahafshir, in order to take off the cold, in order to make it lukewarm, and not in order to actually cook. Right? He says no. He says into a cup, which is what kind of keli? Into a cup, yes, but not into the pot. Not into the pot, not into the urn itself. Right. Lo shel tocha kos, hol tocha lo, but not into the kli rishon itself. On Ramana said, Kashisi Kumi Rabbi Ba. I asked a question from Rabbi Ba. Lo tani Rabbi Yochanan al Seifa. Lo tani Rabbi Yochanan al Seifa. It could be that Rabbi Yochanan made a statement about the Seifa. If you look at the end of the Mishnah, it says, Amanosu tocho tocha kos kadei have shiur. He could put it inside the urn and inside the cup. So maybe Rabbi Yochanan took out the word l'tocha over there. In other words, you can't put it on the inside over there because he takes out the word l'tocha. That's just taking out one word. That's okay. So lotani Rabbi Yochanan al Seifa, but lotani al Reisha. But you're not going to learn it from the Reisha, Bishvil Sheyichamu, where it says, in order to heat it up, only is prohibited. In the Reisha, we're certainly talking about a Meicham, right? There's no word you can take out, right? Because the subject conversation is the Meicham, right? So there it says quite clear, quite explicitly, that the only reason you're not allowed to put the water in it is because you're going to heat it up. Right? But if you're not going to heat it up, you're just going to make it lukewarm. It sounds quite clearly like it's mutter, right? And that's what he's saying here. Lo tani areisha b'shvil shechamu. Did not learn the reisha. The only time it tells us when he's doing it to heat the water up. Holav shiur lo, but he's doing it to make it lukewarm. It's not osir. So the Gemara doesn't answer the question. The Gemara just leaves that as is. Now the Gemara says, Asa Rabbi Ba Barakana. They argue. We say, if they heat it up, it's forbidden. And if it's in order to take off the cold, in order to make it lukewarm, mutter, then it's permissible, even in an urn, which is the Pashup Shana Mishnah. And Kli Rishon also, you can put it in order to heat it up. Okay? That's true. That's the machlokas. What's the machlokas? Tani, we learned, no sincham tochzonen. It says you can put hot water into cold water. In other words, if you have a standing vat of cold water and you pour hot water into it, that's okay. You're allowed to do that. However,
is it equal portions, or is it?
Yeah. Also, let's assume all things being considered. Although that may or may not be germane, but let's assume it is. So, no sincham tochotzone, avlotzone tochame, but not cold water to hot water. K'divrei Beis Shammai. Why is that? Because whatever's in the bottom always impacts more on the top. It's called Tatar Gavar. Heat rises, right? So therefore, you're allowed to pour hot into cold, he says, but not cold into hot. Basil says, it doesn't matter. When the time the colder, hot, it's both mutter. Says the Gemara, Bati Chamin, the Toch Tzonein Mutter. What if you have a whole bathhouse, a whole bathtub full of hot water? Then of course it's also pouring the cold water, right? I'm sorry. Chamin Toch Tzonein, you pour hot water into cold water, not a whole bathtub of hot water. You pour a little bit of hot water into a bathtub of cold water. That's obviously mutter because the proportion is so skewed in favor of the cold water, right? However, the other way, if you pour cold water into hot water, right? Also, that's forbidden because then tato. Right. And if cold water is overcome by the bathtub water, right?
So it does make a difference on the proportion.
Right, that's probably true. Yeah, obviously. Rabbi Shimon Matir. Rabbi Shimon says it doesn't make a difference. Allowed to pour cold water to hot water or hot water to cold water, regardless of which is the bath water and which is not. Asya the Rav, Rabbi Shimon, and here it says in the Korban Eidim Moshe, it says that Rabbi Shimon Matir is Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya. The reason why the significance about the next line is because of the next line. It says when Asya the Rav, Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya. There's a typo here. It says the Lozer, right? But it should be ben Menasya. Rav is saying it's going to Rabbi Shimon ben Menasya. What does Shimon ben Menasya say? Shimon ben Menasya said that it makes no difference whether you pour into what. So too Rav said it makes no difference if you pour cold water into a cup or into an urn. Even in the urn it's okay as long as it's not going to get cooked. That's fine, right? So this is similar to Rav. We take into account the so it's Rabbi Shimon, the Rabbi Shimon says no problem of there's no problem of cooking the water, right. So says Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan, who is Machmir, holds Rabbi Yochanan Nuri, who's a Machmir as well. Says that it depends where the well, what does Rabbi Yochanan Nuri say? We'll say Tani Rabbi Yochanan Nuri Omer. Rabbi Yochanan says, Memali hu adam chavish shamayim. A person could fill a bucket full of water, b'noisna keneged hamadura, and put it opposite a bonfire. Lo b'shul sheteichad, it's hot. Ella b'shul shetofi gatzon tzinasa. Only that it's cold should come off of it. Yardu adam v'toilo v'toinim v'oilo mischami keneged hamadura b'Shabbos. A person can go down to the mikveh in cold water, come up and heat himself up opposite the fire, even though he has droplets of water on him. Divrei Meir. Chachamim forbid this practice. Ask Yemar Yehusa Marai Meir. Meir said, good. Mata means Rabbanan. What's logical Rabbanan? So it says, Yeba Kaidamar Rabbi Yirmiyah B'Shem Rabbi Yehuda. Let's say that Rabbi Yehuda holds like that which Rabbi Yirmiyah said, nay Rabbi Zira. Nay Rabbi Yehuda Mutar Lav Shir B'Moko She'at Sholedes. It's a ritual to do this lukewarming in a place where the temperatures are Yat Sholedes. Hi. It's permissible to do this lukewarming business in a place where Yad Sholetes, meaning where the hand can still tolerate the heat. Also, have shir makom she'ena Yad Sholetes. You're not allowed to do this heating up in a place where your hand cannot tolerate the heat. So says Umar, a very interesting question. Even a place where the hand cannot tolerate the heat. Ad heichon. How far can you still pour in water? That's a very strange question, because once the yad is not sholetes though, it's yad soletes though, how can you pour in any water, right? So there are a whole bunch of girsos here, carbon Ada, Epnei Moshe, I think, my opinion is that it's talking about a Kli Sheni. And Kli Sheni, granted, even if Sheni Yad Sholetes, you can still put some stuff into it in order to get warm. But there's got to be a limit. What's the limit? It says one of this factory paskin, Rabbi Yehuda ben Pasi b'Shem, Rabbi Yehuda ben Pasi b'Shem, Rabbi Sim b'Shem, Rabbi Yossi b'Chinyan said, Ad shenoisin yada l'tocha v'nichves. When your hand gets burnt by being put in this mixture, by being put in this liquid. Much later, much warmer. And until then, a Kli Sheni is mutter. At that point, a Kli Sheni becomes also.
Saying that there might be a gray zone between Yad Sholetes and Yad Soletes, where maybe even it's a couple.
To the best of my knowledge, one never entertains any such possibility. Right, no gray zone. Okay, there might be one because of our lack of knowledge, but there's no inherent gray zone. Okay?
In other words, Yad Sholetes, that continues all the way to Yad Soletes.
And then there's, by Kli Sheni, Yad Nichves, right. Okay?
By Kli Sheni, what Yad Nichves?
Yad Nichves, L'maisa, Halacha L'maisa. We pass Yad Nichves, both Mevashal, any Keli, even Kli Shlishi.
And that's more than Yad Sholetes.
Oh, most definitely. More than Yad Soletes. Yeah.
So it's actually almost more than one.
Right. I know exactly, it's up there. Okay? So it says the Gemara, Hakom Moedim B'Kli Sheni.
You can make tea.
Not Yad Nichves. Not in any Keli. The
Say that automatically is not Yad because of that we have a specific temperature. I meant
No.
that's not okay.
The truth is that there's the Chayodam. You can argue in the Chayodam. There are the Achorim argue the Chayodam, but that's what Chayodam says. The Yad Nichvesbo is not affected on by pouring. I mean, eventually it will, because it will cool down eventually. But it's not also to put anything Yad Nichvesbo.
Okay, what about Klishi?
Doesn't matter. It's the point. No matter what Yad, I think it's Chayodam and a Chazon Ish, but no matter what level of Yad Nichvesbo you reach, I mean, no matter what Keli it is, as long as Yad Nichvesbo, it's also.
What about dipping a tea bag in a
It's not. It can't be Yad Nichvesbo.
so it can't be boiling hot?
No, it can never be boiling hot.
Or even very hot?
It can be very hot. Can't be very, very hot.
Yad Nichves is almost
Right. I'm tired, bro. Try putting your finger down on your stove and see when you get it burnt. That's Yad Nichvesbo. Okay? See what happens. Alright, so it says more further. Mamin Kli Rishon, Mabi Kli Sheni. Let's skip. Yeah, the second to last line. Now, Komodim Kli Sheni Shu Mutter. Everybody's Kli Sheni is Mutter. Mamin Kli Rishon, Mamin Kli Sheni. What's it?
By Kli Sheni, it's mutter if it's anything less than Yad Nichves.
Yes. Maybe, yeah. Well, sounds like it. Mamin Kli Rishon, Mamin Kli Sheni. Kom Rabbi Yossi Ka. What? What's the difference in halacha? Yeah. We have to know from somewhere. Why can't it be Shabbos? Yeah, it could be fine here. Yeah. Well, we obviously know. I think it's more profound. We're not asking about the spiros of Kli Rishon and Kli Sheni. Kli Rishon, Kli Sheni, Kli Shlishi, Chesed, Chochma, Vina, Das. No. I know, it's probably understood. It's not a question asked. One second. Some Rabbi Yossi Kana Yachulas, Kana Ine Yachulas. The truth is, Rabbi Yossi learned there's some serious difference. By Kli Rishon, Yad is not Sholetes. And Kli Sheni it is. Right? Oh no, you don't want to say that.
I don't.
No, it's very bad. It's very bad for the Jews. Why? Because then Yad Kli Sheni would have to actually be a lower temperature. Right. We want to see it, Rabbi Yoina. Rabbi Yoina, kan v'kan eina Yad Sholetes. Kli Sheni, it's not Yad Sholetes. It's not Yad Sholetes. It's going to be much higher than Yad Sholetes, as long as it's not what? Nichvesh, right. So, when that's the case, why are they going to Kli Rishon, not Kli Sheni? Losu Hera Kli Rishon, Losu Hera Kli Sheni. May extend Kli Rishon, not Kli Sheni. Now, at the end of the next mission, the Gemara is going to say, why is it not the Raisa? Why isn't Kli Rishon the Raisa? So the Gemara is going to say, the Raisa, it has to be Al Ho'esh. Anything not Al Ho'esh is only Bishul D'Rabbanan. It's a Chiddush, but that's where he paskin. So therefore, when they made the Isser, they only made on Kli Rishon, not on Kli Sheni. Okay? Rabbi Mora, Hain Pincha Da'aroiza, the words of Messiah Leilava. The raya from a vessel from a dish of rice, hot rice. So raya for my father, Rabbi Yoina. And Hain Pincha Da'girsa, please also the porridge. Is also Messiah Leilava, that retains its heat, and that's called, by the way, what's it called? The food stuff, a dish of rice or a dish of cereal. It's a Dover Gush. Dover Gush, we have the possibility of even Bash and Kli Sheni. It seems from the Yerushalmi didn't hold that Xera. So Yerushalmi says that proving that Kli Rishon and Kli Sheni, that they're both the same heat, and nonetheless allowed to cook in Kli Sheni, which is the same heat as Kli Rishon. We pass it not that way. We pass it in this case, when not allowed to be cooking in Kli. What was I saying? Yeah. I'm not allowed to put, let's say, your cholent on your plate next to your salad. So the cholent might cook the salad. It's not like Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi says that the moment it gets to your plate, certainly Kli Sheni, maybe even Kli Shlishi. Right. But we don't pass no way. I was saying we give a Dover Gush something solid status of Kli Rishon no matter where it is. Okay? Yeah, honest. Not everybody holds a Dover Gush, but normative Ashkenazic halacha does.
So you're saying we went through this, but you're saying you cannot put salt on your cholent?
Well, salt is cooked.
Salt is cooked?
Sure. Yeah. First of all, salt is not a vegetable. But even though it's boiled in order to evaporate the water. So it's cooked already. Yeah.
We're talking about ketchup.
Ketchup is cooked too, yeah.
Yeah, but it's considered a food stuff according to the Reagan administration.
Yeah. But it's cooked. It's also cooked for sure. Okay. Did I finish the Mishnah? What? The soup is a Kli Shlishi. That's Kli Shlishi and it's liquid. So it would have to be something solid, which you put in your plate. Ladle. I don't know if they serve soup in your house, but if they serve with a ladle, it's Kli Shlishi. Okay. Says more. You see that Kli Sheni can still be hot because you move this rice or this cereal from pot to pot and it's still hot. Yeah.
How do we conclude now when it says which is the
no, that's what I'm saying. The Yerushalmi is not leaving the hills here. At least the Rambam is Yerushalmi, because Yerushalmi is saying Dover Gush can become a Kli Sheni. in solid substance. We pass in solid substance does not become Kli Sheni. It's a chumrah, but we have such a chumrah. Okay? Only liquids become Kli Sheni. Okay, if you take a very different pot off the fire when it's boiling, not putting into it hot spices, or not hot, spices, or herbs. You can put the spices or herbs into a plate, into your own eating plate or the serving dish, which is Kli Shlishi. Well, at least the Kli Sheni. You can put spices into anything, says something which has vegetables and fish brine. Okay? Which has vinegar and fish brine. Can you put a tavlin, which is a spice, on the bottom of your vessel and pour on top hot water or hot soup, whatever the case may be? Bi'uri Kli Rishon, right? Rabbi Yonasan Amar also Bi'uri Kli Rishon. Rabbi Yonasan says for any because that we should pour from Kli Rishon is like a Kli Rishon. Chelud Rabbi Yonah Minadot. Rabbi Yonah brought a proof from here. What does it say? There's a loch that if you have an earthenware jug in the Beit HaMikdash, it's used for Kodesh, so you have to break it before it becomes noiser. So you break both components of it, both the component that what? What, whichever you did, it means. Yeah. Oh, kachim, pour kachim into this vessel. So the way a vessel based on mikdash. You have to then dispose of it before the stuff inside becomes noser. Am I not clear? Not clear?
No, I'm talking Shabbos.
Right. We're out to prove something. We're out to prove that Ira is Kli Rishon. How are we proving Ira is Kli Rishon? Because if you poured hot korban juice into a pottery vessel, so then the pottery vessel has to be destroyed. Yes, because it absorbs korban juice. So it shows us that it, yeah. Okay? So it says the Gemara.
It doesn't change its status as korban.
What do you mean? It's hot. That's what makes it hot. What's the matter? Right, it has to be broken. You can even break it preemptively. Okay? So it says. Yeah, obviously, it's supposed to.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Right. So it says Gemara. Again, echad shebishavov, echad shiur tochel the roteach. It makes a difference if you cook it or put it in important hot substance. You have to break the vessel. So the you see here that Kli Rishon, gets absorbed, right? It says Gemara. Rabbi Yosef said, "Tam on Kli cheresh shiur tochel roteach." Kli cheresh boleh, tabli enim espashlim. It says Iwi might not be like Kli Rishon. What's the difference over there? The vessel absorbs. So since it absorbs, so therefore it absorbs the prohibited substance as well, right? Here, the prohibited korban juice. Here, it's not a question of observing, of absorbing, right? Hey, so here we're looking whether the spice gets cooked. The spice doesn't get cooked. Hey, so Rabbi Yosef says they're kosher also by a copperware vessel. that copperware has got to be broken, right? Or it has to be kosher. What? Right, not should absorb it. So Islam Meimar clean the kosher butler. You're going to say clean the kosher as bolea. Clean the kosher absorbs. Obviously not. So says the Gemara. Ma'u laros min hakaluach. Well, we don't answer the question. Right, we don't answer the question. Ma'u laros min hakaluach. Can one pour from the flow? Now this is a very difficult question. This is what we just covered. What's the difference? So yeah. No, never mind. The Pnei Moshe says like that. No, Pnei Moshe says like Pnei Moshe says like ignore that. I mean, they're difficult to understand. I think Laros Mikaluach means what's the status of flow while it's in the air? How you look at when it's in the air? It's like in a Rishon, like a cliche. According to Manamot Kata Govern, right? That it loses its potential as it comes to rest in the vessel, which is down there below. So what's the status when it's in the air? That's our shiur. Okay? Yeah, something is in the flow. Was that a good example? Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. Basar b'cholov. No, you don't have to. The Gemara will, though. But what about by Shabbos itself? You pour something hot from a kli rishon on a raw piece of meat. Okay, put the meat in midair. No, it's not. It's got to be in a vessel to make it a kli sheni, right? It's got to be poured out of in a vessel, make it kli rishon.
In the vessel, though, and it's connected to the kli rishon.
Who says in a vessel? It's suspended in midair. I don't know why you say that. You're making that up arbitrarily. Yeah. But maybe it's worse when it's in midair. You know what the spore of kli sheni is? The spore of kli sheni is that the funnels of the kli are cooler. The walls of the vessel are cooler. Cooler. C-O-O-L-E-R. So if that's the case, maybe when it's in mid-air, it's better. In other words, you're more chayav.
It's still connected to the kli.
It's still connected, and it hasn't fallen into the new vessels yet.
It's still connected to the kli rishon, which means it's still being part of the kli rishon.
Right, which would be the reason we machmir. Right, no, but then there are other reasons we make it. That's what I was trying to explain. All right. Malos v'yekuch. Rabbi Chanina, Bei Rav Hila, Machlokas Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. This is Machlokas Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. Same thing we have by Ira Kli Rishon and Ira Kli Sheni. They would argue here as well. Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Gufta, Ben Bar Gufta, Bo Kumi Rav Mona. He asked for Rav Mona. Also came b'Shabbos Chai Mishuv Vasha. What's the status about this being Vasha on Shabbos? Also came Basar B'Cholav. He did it in Basar B'Cholav, right, with meat and milk. Chai Mishuv Vasha. Chai cousin Vasha as well. He says to Gemara, Amalei, he says to him, Kai the my Rabbi Zero. This is like Rabbi Zero said. Ezu told Barur. Why are all these things not mevashel? Because what is true mevashel? Kol she'ur mevashel ma'alech tachtav. Anything with a fire goes directly underneath the pot. Okay. What? Usually, but not here, obviously. I think. It says where.
What do you mean? So why did you make that
what's my place? What? Because Ezu Tachu Borokosha the similarly over here. Without that, it's all the Rabbanan anyway. So therefore, I can be Mekel, he says. You know, Mer Koshul and they saying Kol Nois and the Chuti Vidovichish Bochomet. He puts herbs into anything, into any fish brine or any thing like that, except for something which has extra vinegar into it. Al Daita Rabbi Yehuda Melech B'tzir V'yayim Mechomet. For Rabbi Yehuda, in order to allow an individual to partake, he has to have more salt in his what? In his herring. One second. Yeah, but that may be no. Because salt raises the freezing point.
It raises the freezing point. That's right. That's why you salt the ice in the so that melts. So it takes cold.
No, that would be, it lowers the freezing point. No, raises the freezing point. It raises it, that's right. So it's a contradiction that's going on.
It has to be cold.
That's right, so that's good. That is good with this one. Lows freezing point, goes with cooling point. That's good. Okay, so that's what the Gemara says. Rabbi Omer, the Kol no say, the Kol knows that you can put herbs into anything as long as it doesn't have vinegar and brine in it. Only if there's extra salt in the brine, because of course not just stam brine and extra wine in the vinegar, then it's also, but not otherwise. Okay? Was not allowed to put a vessel under the oil, under the vessel in order to catch oil. You know somebody about mutter, you put it there from before Shabbos, it's permissible. However, you're not allowed to derive any benefit from it because it wasn't prepared from before Shabbos. Rabbi Chagai, boy, cover me beard yoim. Very interesting question. We don't resolve it, of course. You know, you thought you were lighting candles. Turns out the moment you turned it back, the candles went out on you. Right? All of them. So, well, it's not germane how many of them. And then he became aware of that afterwards. So is a waste to muktzah for this object or not? Okay? Do you understand the question? What? Right, because Lamaisa, his whole concept of being mocked to this is based on a mistaken premise. What's the mistaken premise? Those burning Ben Hashmoshos. There's no premise, so don't say it's muktzah, right? Or do I say, well, I guess that he would. What are the two choices? Either there's stam das, or I remember now. He brings down the Yerushalmi brings down the two ways of looking at this. Well, let me tell you the next case first, and then we'll talk about it. He lived for this Shabbos, and it remained lived for that Shabbos. Partially. but then in the middle of Shabbos it went down. It was supposed to last for 7 days. So can you use it for the next Shabbos or not? This candle. Is that clear? It's a 7-day candle, right?
What about during the week? You're making it for the following Shabbos. You're designated for the following Shabbos.
Designate what?
You have half.
You didn't know. You didn't know. You weren't aware what was going on with it. Weren't aware.
You did not. You could not designate it.
Right. So the Gemara doesn't answer this question. According to Yerushalmi, it's either this also is based either on Breira. Why is it based on Breira? Because you have to retroactively clarify when your intent was at Erev Shabbos. So okay, because there's Breira sometimes the Rabbanan, so maybe that's a valid complaint or a valid question. Or the other thing that's similar is Yerushalmi Das. It's the flip side of Yerushalmi Das. It's Das Shalom Das. Right? You're not aware to have Das, but you consider as if you have Das. Okay? Says the Gemara first. So those are the two ways of explaining it. What? Right, Das Shalom Das. Let's see the Gemara again. Rabbi Chaga boy, cover you with Yom Yisrael b'Shabbos. None of these cases, it doesn't work. But actually, there's a machlokes where the Rabbi Yochanan, where the previous Gemara is saying something new. Okay, the Pasha is saying something new. There's nothing which is extant, explicitly extant on Erev Shabbos. Veino be'echon is not considered prepared for Shabbos. Except for one thing. What's the one thing? Raisins and dates. Because raisins and dates, you push them off, you completely reject them for your presence in Shabbos. Okay? Says the Rabbi Lezer said, Hare Shemen, Bener, oil in a candle, Hare Ube'eno, it's manifest, Ve'eno,
right? Each and every
Right, never mind. Let's try and figure something out, but don't worry. Hey, Tabelezer, Shemen Shemenera, Arei Be'enahu. It's there, Ve'eno Be'echona, yet it's not prepared. It's Kash Rabbi Yochanan, right? Why is it not prepared? Right, Rabbi Yochanan said, anything which is Be'eno, which is there, is prepared. So is the oil in the wick is prepared.
Talking about for the next Shabbos?
No, for this Shabbos. It's a separate statement, Rabbi Yochanan's statement. Right, because they're prepared. So it says more, no, l'chein nos b'shar rishoyin, b'shar rishoyin shichla ner. When you put the oil in the candle originally, your intent was it should get all consumed. So therefore you completely reject it. It becomes like what? What? Raisins and figs. Complete rejection, right? Says the Gemara. Stephen asked the Kash. What about grain for planting? And they in their basis. So are they prepared? Right? Yet they're not prepared. Here we say the similar thing. Says you put in the ground that they should be consumed by the ground. So they're also pushed aside. Hey, what about chicks for eggs? They exist, but they're not going to be muchan. They're under the mother. Says Malkach knows the Bishari Shina Shuef. I'm sorry, skip. No, I didn't skip, right? They're also muktzah because they're designated. All these things becomes like raisin and date. Hey, what are Iturei Sukkah? What? Decorations of the sukkah, right? Adornments of the sukkah. They are explicit. You have to prepare for all 7 days now to use them. So shani, there it's muktzah machmas. No, you get the tinsel Christmas decoration for a dime. Muktzah machmas chesron kis. What? Meals. Muktzah machmas meals, right? Yeah. But that's it. It says no. It's a mitzvah, not meals. Mitzvah, right? Sukkah that's muktzah machmas mitzvah. Hare, what? Meals mitzvah. All right. I should really erase that. It doesn't sound good. I didn't mean it. Again, you have to not consider prepared. Shani, it's different. Rav Avremi. What? Oh, Avmori. All 7 days they are canceled, meaning that they're part and parcel of the sukkah, because the noise sukkah aspect. They're on the taka prepared because they're taka bait. Hey, Rabbi Chanin, I don't know exactly about Skormi. Ada says it's feathers which scatter from Hatmona. And Premo says feathers which scatter out of a pillow. But I think feathers like stones, right? So, even though like stones, and of course, be muktzah machmas kufa because of what they are. So it says, well, why didn't they put it in? So I read my name. Well, one second, what's going on? There's anything which is extant is a food stuff. He didn't say anything which is a keli is a valid keli. Feathers, or no, they're not really feathers. These pieces of material, they're either a keli or they're not, but they're not ochel, right? So they that which Rabbi Yehuda said that anything which is be'ain is considered mukhan is going specifically on ochel, on food. Anything else might be be'ain and not be mukhan. And that's why the mukin are not considered to be mukhan, because they're not food. Okay? Says the Gemara, hey, sir. What? Yeah. What? They're either the feathers in a pillow or the plumage from an animal. Okay? So it says Gemara, Acha b'kelim. You ever tell you about by kelim? I'm sorry, we just said. Hey, Rabbi Nasa. Hare muktzah sheyavesh. You have muktzah which dried up partially. The raisins and nuts, raisins and dates, raisins and figs. V'lo nagavo. You're not allowed to touch them. Why? Hare uvein bechono lichori sisoi, which exists, but it's not considered to be muchan. Says Marahacha there, and here's a major typo, carbonata, should be acha b'miktsasa. By when part of them are already dry, that's not as if they're all fully dry. And therefore the entire area where they're drying is considered to be off limits. Okay? However, Madit Martamon, that which it says over there, that you're allowed to have part and part, what's tamon? My tamon bikulan it should be. Okay, so it's b'mitzotson and umayit my tamon bikulan, meaning that that which we say that you can't that a muksa which is dry. What? Yeah. For all of it is royal achila. If all of it is royal achila, then even dates and figs can be saved, right? Because I say a das on them because they're all like that, or maybe even retroactive das. According to the question we had on Aleph, right? Found about on Shabbos that they're ready would dry from before Shabbos, right? But that's all. If they all dry it the same way, if they dry staggered, there's no way to rely on this. Why is no way to rely on that? And that's what Gemara is answering, because Gemara is saying it's not to be muchon. True, part of the batch to be muchon, but you need the whole batch to be muchon in order to consider it to be permissible. You don't have that. No, I guess. Yeah, it must be later, maybe it works. All right, maybe. So, but he hasn't made the bottom line is where it goes around this. Metalin ner chodesh lo yashim was allowed to carry a new candle which is not muktzeh machmas mius. But not an old candle because that's muktzeh machmas mius. Shemer kol neirus metalin chutz min haner hadolik b'Shabbos. You can carry all candles except for a candle which is burning on Shabbos because the bus is davar aser. Okay. Hey, see Rabbi Chia Barabba Baracho. How can you say such a to explain this like Bas? How can you say such a concept muktzeh machmas mius? What to me that we learned claiming something there from Shalavir. You can put a basket in front of chicks that they can go up and down on Shabbos. So why should it be that basket is muktzeh machmas mius? It's a repulsive, disgusting thing full of bird excrement. So I can use it on Shabbos, right? Rabbi Yehuda. That's like Rabbi Yehuda. The Tani we learned, you can carry all candles. Several candle which burns on Shabbos. Rabbi Meir. Even if it's burning on Shabbos, if it's new, you're allowed to carry it. Rabbi Shimon Oimer, carry any candle which burn on that Shabbos. What if it says between Rabbi Shimon and Meir? We'll see presently. Okay? Kava that what you said you're allowed to, it's also part of a Shimon. That would say you're allowed to carry, it's only where the ray is extinguished. Okay? Maisa halacha is you're allowed to carry a candlestick even when it's lit. If it's on a bus, it's l'davar aser v'amuter, right? But here we're talking about, we're assuming there's no buses. No, you're not allowed to. You're allowed to carry it. Yeah. It's on the books. I just taught it this Motzei Shabbos on the books. Okay? Yes? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think so. I think it's all acronym. Yeah, I think it's all acronym. But no, but you're allowed to. If you put a salt check on the tray, you're allowed to move the tray even when the candles are on. Why?
What's the process of the candle itself?
No, the tray.
The usher is the flame.
Doesn't matter.
Different candles intricately this bottom fork of the needle says the ocean donut, the usher should denounce the buses of davar aser. The higher shall have a shabbat. So shall have is called the candle buses of davar aser. But the candle is a bus. But the candle inside of the candlestick, which is not a buses of davar aser. So why do we have to come on and then there's a trade, which is just another one.
Maybe you're right.
I just was thinking out loud.
Yeah.
In other words, you look at 2 or 3 opinions.
And I used to solve it. Why?
Yeah.
We know that
I don't know offhand. I don't know. So it says more. Rabbi and Rabbi Bo. Rabbi and Machlokas. Treyom b'shem Rabbi Yochanan. Both named Rabbi Yochanan. Chadamar divrei meir kom yuchal isros. Korah meir, everything which is designated specifically for the purpose of Isser is also. It's Muktzah on Shabbos. Charon Amar, the other one said, Kol sheyichto le'isser osir. Anything which is not specific, even if it's not specific for that purpose, if you decided to use it for that purpose this Shabbos, it's osir. Okay, it depends. This Machlokas says, in order for something to be Muktzah Shabbos, it has to be designated for Isser always, or that you, this Shabbos, designated for Isser. That in of itself makes it Muktzah. Okay? That makes it awesome. Okay? So it says, I didn't know which said which and which said which. Rabbi Yirmiyah said, Rabbi Yirmiyah asked, who isn't a brick, Muchalisser, because a brick is Muchalisser, right? It's for building. Who do Amar must be used what it said, El Koa Muchalisser, also anything which is Muchalisser is also, regardless of what you intend to use it is. For now, maybe you intend to use the brick as a paperweight still also. Says the Gemara, Mandamar, here's a big typo, according to Mashbiach. Mandamar Kol Sheyichto instead of Muchal. Anyway, it says anything which you designate for Isser is also Kosh Kemuchal. It's certainly true if it's Muchal. If it's specially made for Isser, that it's also, right? If it's made for that purpose. Then at the Uman de Omar, then again changing, Man Omar Kolam Yuchad, anybody who holds that it's something which is specifically made for that purpose, Avl Yichto Lo. What happens if you take a potato and you scoop out a potato and use it as a candlestick? So that would be the topping of Machlokas, right? Maybe you hold that it's Dafka something which is Miyuchad. Can a potato, scooped out potato candlestick become also on Shabbos? No, right? If you hold it, potato stick, if you hold it kosher yichto, right, anything which you designate, even not miyuchad, so scooped out potato stick candlestick will be potato stick, scooped out potato candlestick will be usher, okay? Okay? New meaning for the word potato sticks. Whole new meaning for it. So again, it's a typo. It should be mandamar sheyichto koshke miyuchad. Mandamar miyuchad hayichto lo. Right? Because miyuchad is a subcategory of yichto. It's also designated by somebody, but it's permanently designated. Okay? Masnisa pligo al mandamar kol. Again, the typo kosher yichto le'isser. Our Mishnah seems to argue on the case which says that kosher yichto. Why is that? Because it says the Tanina Taman Muchta Tanina learns over there a wheel of a wagon. Bismanchi nishmetis, when it can be taken off the wagon, eino chibulo, it's not going to be connected to the wagon. Therefore, ve'eino nimdeis, it's not measured with it when you come to measure 40 saw. If it clears 40 saw, it's not makabel tumah. It's not part of a roof formed in an ola mace by the rest of the wagon. You can't hold the wheel on Shabbos when it has money on it. Aha! The Tani, look, it says if the one money fell off, you're allowed to carry the wheel. How could this be? It's yichto. You put the money on from before Shabbos. You can't use it on Shabbos, right? It says for holding money. So it says the Gemara, Rav Sheshes Rabbi Shimon. That's like Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon says, Kava mutzah ta'utlo. And here's the Mishnah Rameh and Rabbi Shimon. Rameh holds, if you're delicate from before Shabbos, then you can't carry it even once it goes out. Rabbi Shimon holds once it goes out, you can carry it. So this is going to Rabbi Shimon holds once the money falls off even though you miyachid it, even though you designated it for the purpose of holding money, since it's not miyuchad, it's not special for that purpose. Once the money falls off, it's okay. All right, we're going to have to. Let's do two more lines. Amrin.
What's wrong?
At 6 they're more and more awake. Amrin. Amrin, love with no tachnun tonight. Amrin, lama leisan amfachula divrei hakol. Why did I say it's going to everybody? Right? B'shokeach, when you forgot the money on there, so then you're always allowed to carry. Right? Because shokeach doesn't become a basis. Leisa yochel, you can. It says there, if the wagon wheel can't come off, it's mechuber to the wagon. It's measured with it in measuring 40 saw. Because you go by displacement, not by volume. Whatever the wagon would displace when it was put in the water. So it means even the wagon which has no receptacle, the wagon wheel which has no receptacle can be included. It's part of a roof for all a mace. Regardless of a Shabbos, you can take it on Shabbos, even though there's not money in it. Because it's tafel to the wagon. This can't be talking about where you forgot. There would be no chiddush. So that even if you put it there intentionally, you're still allowed to carry it. Why? Because it's part of the wagon, so the money's not choshev. It's batel to the chashivas of the wagon. So it must be in the ratio also talking about where you put the money there intentionally. So if the safest way you put their money intentionally, it's mutter. The ratio is saying it's also because you put the money there intentionally, but once the money falls off, it's okay. That must be like Rebbe Shimon. Once the candle goes out, you're allowed to carry it. We'll stop here for this evening. We'll continue with this tomorrow night. Okay.